founder, the POP Art Company, and Dean at IIPM, and an author. Welcome. Next, we have with us Ms. Supreet Kaur, a modern-day educationist who has worked relentlessly in the past 16 years envisaging programs that build strong school foundations with updated academic programs, fostering brand awareness of schools and promoting a school culture that thrives on transparency with its stakeholders, creating better academic outcomes and social impact. Welcome, Ms. Supreet. And we also have with us Jahnabi Sharma, who's a counseling psychologist and a freelance writer. He has his expertise and specialization in counseling and psychotherapy. Currently, he's a counseling psychologist at SBOA Public School, Guwahati, and a consultant at Gate Hospital. We welcome you. I'm sorry. Okay. Meantime, just before we start this panel discussion, we have a surprise for all of you. We will be distributing few chips of papers, and it's going to be a lucky draw. You just need to write down your name and the school, and then we'll tell you how to go about it. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Naidu.
Am I clear? Thanks for the wonderful introduction. So this session, close to, what's the time now? 3. So 3 o'clock time is called the graveyard session. 3:30. So it's called the graveyard session. Everybody is almost off to sleep, dead asleep, okay? And then you're subjected to people coming out here, obviously all the educationists coming out here and talking about themselves. I'll make it, as usual, very interactive, short, crisp. We have close to 30 minutes, 4 of you, 5 minutes each. And we will make it open to all our other members out there. The very fact that they are here doesn't probably mean that we are more experienced than you. It's just that we would love to share our experience with all of you and see how it has made a difference. So you have the list of questions with all of you, man. And we'll start with you. Please do introduce yourself and let the others know how you have made a difference in your school with the pedagogy which you have done it, and make it crisp and 5 minutes. And as they say in Darren O'Brien in a Crystal Maze, there was a your time starts now.
Thank you so much. That's a lot of pressure, yeah? Just 5 minutes and too many things to cover, so I'll make it right away. Dr. Monika Dewan, an introduction has already been given. I'll save on that, right? Okay, is that fine? Listen carefully. Okay. So, ठीक है, I will repeat it. International educator with American Embassy School for 25 years, Special Olympics USA global consultant, inclusion, equity, diversity, fitness, PE and health have been my areas of expertise, and I have also been on the advisory board with Khaitan schools. Now, talking about inclusion from early years, I think that's where I feel I have been working a lot on, and that is something which actually lays the foundation of our students who will eventually grow up as adults and ultimately create a compassionate society. So inclusion, what is inclusion, right? There's no one size that fits all. That's something for all of us to remember. And I really wish, as educators, I'm sure all of you would agree with me, काश हम सबके पास एक student manual आता, right? जैसे gadgets के साथ आता है, वैसे student manual होता, वो कभी भी नहीं मिलेगा. Every child is unique, every child is different, and we as educators need to learn to meet the needs of all our diverse learners. Variety of learning styles हैं, हम उन सारे बच्चों तक कैसे पहुँच रहे हैं? That is the real task of a good educator, right? पहले good classroom, bad classroom की बात हुई थी. Now it's good educator and not so good educator. But every educator can learn by trainings, and that's where we need to learn that differentiation. Differentiation किस चीज़ का? Of our curriculum, of our instruction, of our assessments. That's absolutely important. Make modifications, make accommodations to ensure every child is learning. आपने जो content deliver किया है, हर बच्चे ने सीखा है कि नहीं? That is your measure of success. Are you able to make sure every child has learnt? That will be super important. That's my one thing I want to share. The second one I would say is, we've been talking so much about holistic development. So reaching out to multiple domains, starting from early years, physical, mental, social, emotional, spiritual, and just combining all of those. Ensuring we are giving a 360 degrees development to students from early years will really help us develop those students into compassionate adults who will be responsible decision makers. So I think for now, in those 5 minutes, these two are enough, right? Is that right, Mr. Manish?
Yeah, the problem is how would you assess whether the person has, or the child, not the person, the child has learned everything in those 1 year. How do you have said, so it's very difficult. The child is unique, the child is different, they will have different milestones. So if I cannot read A, if I cannot write A, and if you equate me on the basis of how I would have finished that particular assessment, how do you feel? And secondly, you cannot take all the child together into the second year because there would be some who are fast learners, slow learners, people with, regardless of their abilities, they would want to tempt themselves to be playful at a time when you are teaching it. So how do you assess them?
Oh, that's a brilliant question. I'm sure most of us have seen that WhatsApp cartoon that sort of is being circulated. All jungle animals and fish, right? They're all being assessed on the criteria, go swim in water, right? Most of them will fail, but that's not right. So that is where we need to make sure we differentiate our assessments. Same assessment cannot really help us assess every student's learning pattern. That is one thing.
You run a school, right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to finish one more thing. For early years, my point might be very different from the real practice because I've been at an international school, so things are different. But मुझे ये पता है मेरे अपने भी बच्चे हैं और वो Indian schools में जाते हैं. So in that notebook, you know, those big squares, वही वाली notebooks अभी चलती हैं, right? बच्चे ने A लिखा, and if A comes out of the box, red pen. Lotus Valley International School, am I right? Do you remember my red pen approach? Probably those teachers have left, yeah? I presented over there. Acha, they're still there. So if the A, letter A comes out of the square, circle. Why? As long as they're learning, as long as they're developing, learning is a continuum. No matter where you are, if you are growing, that's called growth. That's called learning. So that's what we need to make sure we are able to judge the student on whether learning has happened or not. Yeah.
No, my question still remains because you started with the fact that we need to assess them at the end of the year or continuous assessments has to be done. So how do you assess them at the end of the year is my question.
Okay. I would say not at the end of the year. Every time you teach a concept, we can call it by different names. It could be a unit. Let's say we were teaching kids numeracy, right? Addition समझा रहे हैं या basketball करा रहे हैं, whatever skill we are teaching them, उस particular skill का rubric होना चाहिए और assessment उसी के ऊपर होनी चाहिए. Again, not the exact. We could have beginners, we could have developing students, we could have advanced students. So we have to differentiate those assessments. Do you think I've answered that?
Do you still need assessments for those children? I mean, it's my basic question. Do you still need assessments?
See, assessment is just a way of identifying कुछ learning हो रही है कि नहीं. अगर उसके written assessment नहीं हो सकती, it could be a verb. Just see them. Exit card होता है. Just give a thumbs up. Just nod your head. So I'll just see if everybody was listening here. Yeah. Can you all please sit with a tall back? Beautiful. Okay. Can you make your back taller? A little more taller. अच्छा, अभी तक मैंने जो बोला वो समझ आ रहा है? Yes or no? So I would say this is an assessment for me, right? We don't have to make it very complex. For kids, just showing us a smiley face, एक paper उनके पास है, they can make a sad face, normal face, smiley face, whatever way. It's a way of getting feedback.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Next to you. By the way, if you would have said no, she would have repeated the whole thing again. So the basis of why you have said yes is also because चलो यार next करो, there's other things happening. So the same way how the kid should also approach it. सब समझे yes कहेगा ना, अगर वो ना कहेगा वो बोलेगा भाई तू ना क्यों बोला यार, टीचर ने वापस पूरा समझा दिया. चलो अच्छी है. Ma'am, next. Could you please introduce yourself and?
I'll again say the introductions were done, but a very quick synopsis of what I do. My name is Supreet Kaur. I've been into sector of education for the last 17, 18 years I've been here. Primarily worked with edu corporates like EduComp and Pearson India and MindSpark and development of a lot of DA tools and asset tools. Recently, I am the director and a principal at Cyboard, a 100% online school that we conceptualized in 2020, born out of the need, reared out of love. I know it's a very there's a lot of skepticism that comes in the moment we say online and how you do it, are you taking away the physical side of it? But I will say that the way we have developed it, and that was a need of ours at that point of time, we are at a very strong number of students, diversified, coming coming from different cultures, different different parts of the country, almost covering 26 states and UTs, and also some students from abroad. So that's what primarily I do. I consult with a lot of schools who want to work on new age pedagogies and learn how they can develop robust structures in school that can help them survive or what can happen 15, 20 years from now. I'm not talking about today, I'm talking about the future. So that's what I do. Now, what impact I have made, I will say, in my personal space